Hello and welcome to a new Impulsive Compulsion video here at Question the Truth with me, Slisk Lindqvist. Well, this isn't really an Impulsive Compulsion because I've been thinking about making this video for almost a week now. And I've been watching a whole lot of apostate prophets and David Wood, which has come with... Watching their videos have given me some more insights in some stuff. Like the how should I put it? I really feel sorry for people in Islam. They've kind of been led astray by a... it's... It's so blatantly clear that Muhammad was a false prophet. He's the total opposite of anything that stands for peace. But that's a perspective. And I've been speaking about perspectives for years now. We choose our perspectives. We choose what we see, and we are what we see in others. A bit of a true self. I've stated to people for some time now, for years even, that the principle that I live by is I am what I see or seek in others, my true self. Which is also when you see things in others, you judge yourself, and you judge yourself harshly by how you judge others. That's why I don't really like to speak of Muhammad in a negative connotation. Anyway, I have said, and I will say it openly over and over again, I have not read the Bible, I have not read the Torah, I have not read the Quran, I have not read the Mahabharatas or the Vedas or any scripture that anyone have written. It's just observations and insights that made me create a whole other comprehension. Or a way to see things. Anyway, it's just because I haven't read them doesn't mean I haven't taken part in them. Like, I watch movies. I live in Sweden, a country where Christians came and gave us new laws and guidelines, basically. Most of the world lives by Christian values, or at least the values of the Ten Commandments, which is Moses. So even if I haven't read them, there's a lot of source material out there in video material, both in movies and YouTube. And I've been listening to people on YouTube to get a more balanced comprehension of things. But I don't know. Kind of confuses me more than it helps. And from my perspective, God has always been life. It's the invisible force that is within all and everything, that creates and recreates and shapes everything and everyone. It is the only true teacher, and when you start to observe both the past and the present, that's when you actually get some kind of control over your own future, basically. Well, having control of your future is like putting yourself above life, and it's not really going to help you elevate or evolve in insights or anything. But I've heard a lot of expressions throughout the years, so I started to look into some of them. I've been looking through some of them, and I've been like really scared when it's been the man of lawlessness, and I think of my past youth where part of my life was basically anarchy. I didn't live by rules, but I had principles, strong principles about who I could and couldn't do different stuff towards, and it sounds a lot worse than it is, because even if I've been in a bad crowd, I've never really become one of the bad crowd. For me, it's been an observing experience, kind of. But it took me years. I think it was last year or the year before that I heard the expression Man of Perdition and Man of Lawlessness, and then also I heard a something of desolation. And desolation for me, desolate is what I kind of think of. And then I thought about the desert, and when I thought about the desert, it became so clear to me that Muhammad was the man of lawlessness. He didn't uphold his own laws. You can see it in the Quran. He didn't uphold the laws. He didn't value life. He didn't value women. He didn't value other people that didn't have the same way of thinking. And yet I feel I don't like judging. And I've said it many times, we should not judge Muhammad based on today's values. It's not right. So to take these words from the Torah and the Bible and apply that on someone that created a false doctrine that was created in order to control people and kill the competition and kill everyone that he saw. Since my principle is I am what I see in others, my true self, it becomes, for me, like I see a reflection. I can't judge others without judging myself, so I don't like judging others because the highest value I hold is the lowest that I point to someone else. And the lowest value that I point to someone else is also the value I appoint life. And since I view life as God, every time I judge someone, I also like judge life. Like, it was so much easier. Before all of this. Before I started to look into different life philosophies and like Islam and Judaism and Christianity and Buddhism, Taoism, and all other life philosophies out there. It's you know, the Torah is called the Book of Life. So how stupid are people, or how ignorant, or how blind are people? How could they not see? They've held the Torah for 6,000 years and they couldn't see that it was the book of life. The wisdom created from the experiences of life in one book. But then again, there's a lot of other unexplainable things in there. That's not just life. So what is Islam? What are Islam? Islam. Islam or Islam. Lamb. Innocent ignorance. Islam is just ignorant, or they're so they are so ignorant that they become innocent, and it's because they're so boxed up in those false ideas. Also, I've stated this clearly just 2 or 3 days ago, that if Islam would be the doctrine of the world, they would eventually kill the world. All of it. Because they can have up to 4 wives, and by that have lots of kids, and if they kill off people because, well, if they don't adapt to the modern society, then they will go back to the old ways, which would mean shorter lifespans, no food, no doctors, basically. Lots and lots of kids, and lots of pagan... Because that's also a thing. I made a video. I made a lot of videos here, but I haven't released them. But the last video you can see is the one about corruption in the land. The Kaaba and Muhammad, it's clear idolatry. It's even I've even heard it in videos where Muslims say that they love Muhammad more than they love their family and wives. That's idolatry. You are putting someone else above you. You're lowering your value, and thereby also lowering the value of life. Even though, well, it's a bit obscured text about killing people. If you kill a Muslim, it's like killing the whole mankind. But if it's a you or someone else, nah, it's just an insect, basically. But the killing anyone is like killing... You're not just killing one person, you're killing parts of yourself, and you're killing the potential of that person that you murdered. All the words and potentials of those words that could have changed a life in the future will not be saved. It's the butterfly effect, basically. Also, now it's so many apostates in Islam also, and people going over to atheism. And I've stated since, I can't remember, 2017, I think, that atheism is closer to God than a religious person. Because a religious person is so bound up in that book that they are reading that they kind of miss what it's actually saying. They miss out on the teaching because, well, it's also like this. I don't think we should judge the texts, but rather we should judge ourselves through that of which we see or seek in what we read or see in others. Uh, I don't even know if you are supposed to be listening to me at all. It's like you have the Bible wherein you shouldn't listen to those in sheep's clothing, wolves in sheep's clothing. I don't know if I want to lead you astray. I don't know what is best for you. I'm only saying or stating my observations. I don't have any expectations that you will take my words and apply them to your life. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. Also, I have this here, these piercings, they're called snake bites. So I might be a snake also, lying my ass off. I don't even know what a lie is. The definition of a lie for me is that we speak out of the range of comprehension that we have. A lie is something you do on purpose. And I rarely do anything that is out of character on purpose that will hurt anyone with the intent of hurting them. It's not the right way to go. More like naive in that way. I just say what's on my mind and hope for the best. Hope that others will actually gather what I'm saying and have enough insight to comprehend what I'm saying. So I've been Like, here, I have the Jehovah's Witness Bible. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I have no religious background at all. I've been more or less an atheist all my life. Because my parents weren't really showing any other aspects of belief than atheism, so, well, and people around me didn't show any aspects of anything. But Sweden is very godless. Well, this god here, it's kind of godless when it comes to these words here. But since life is the teacher, we're not godless. No person on earth is godless, because life is the teacher. You can have that the person will state something to you, something really obvious. You will still not learn, because you have not yet gotten the experiences that you need, and you get those only from life. Or later on, also observations. Hopefully. No, observations are from life. You see something and you associate to it to a prior thing, or you can learn from it by analyzing it and see if there's something new to learn from it. I've been watching a lot of TV series and stuff like that. It's very... When you watch a movie or a series, this is very interesting for me at least. You are the third perspective. You are the only one that is capable of seeing the whole story, getting the whole picture. Maybe, depending on how much information that is let on. In movies, you have the villain is appointed to a specific person, the hero is appointed to another. That's it's a bit... One of the best stories out there, from my perspective, is the Karate Kid movies. And then, afterwards, you watch the Cobra Kai series. When you see this, first you see the head character in those movies as the hero, and the other one is an angry bastard that just wants to fight the head character and almost kill him. But then you see Cobra Kai and you will see the other one, his story fold up, and how his life was destroyed because of the head character from the Karate Kids movies. So then you get more perspectives. I'm saying this not from a perspective that you should watch the movies and series as something entertaining, but instead something educational. You're observing the situation and the perspective of it, and then you look at the other one and you get a whole new perspective, which kind of pushes the other one away and makes the hero in the movies a villain in the series. But it ends well, though. So I like to watch a lot of movies and series because you can learn a lot from them if you are observant. If you're actually watching what is going on and you're not just some blank spot looking at a wall. Oh, anyway, I don't know how I came into... How did I get into movies and perspectives again? The perspectives are interesting because we often miss things. There's a lot of good things in Islam too, because there's an expression, you are what you eat. And you could eat the whole Quran, or you could eat bits and pieces of it. And you could mature and eat another part of it. It's a way to grow up. It's a very... The Quran is very aggressive in its way of what is right and wrong. But from my point of view, it's not respecting life, and if you are not respecting life, you're not respecting God. You're appointing yourself as God, which Muhammad kind of did when he made up new verses and sayings every time he wanted to do something new. And as I said, I don't want to judge him because he... Well, it's kind of within his right in one way. But I don't think that it's the right life philosophy to boast about. I created my own doctrine. There. It's 22 pages long. I have a video over it. It's kind of like a false doctrine, but it deals with judgment, basically, or mainly it deals with how to judge properly, how not to be self-righteous, how to be righteous. It's centered around how to be righteous, and I didn't think of Islam as the false doctrine, and because I didn't think of Islam as the false doctrine, I saw my own, the universal balance, as a false doctrine, but I made it in a manic state. I don't know why. I just couldn't control myself, and I wrote it. Much like I've done a lot of other stuff in manic states. And I've added a lot of things in here that doesn't make any or much sense for some, but the core principle of life, so God's core principle, says here, is all life is equal, all life is sacred, and respect life, and life will respect in return. That core principle is the universal balance. The rest of the universal balance here is my own thoughts surrounding this core principle and my experiences that life has given me. And it's a false doctrine, maybe, or not. Makes me nervous every time, actually. Oh, now that that was actually, there's been a lot of impulsive stuff here. The only thing I was actually that wasn't impulsive was the Man of Perdition that I kind of wanted to talk about. And yeah, I don't think we should judge Muhammad by any of today's standards. Stand up for your values, not your behavior. Basically. And since he's not here to speak for himself, shouldn't judge it. There's a lot of other scary things. I had a visualization that people will leave Islam and burn the Torah, not the Torah, burn the Quran. And I don't think that's the solution. But also, it's very scary. What if the world population would die off, but only a few survive, and the only thing they have is the Quran? Well, if it's only the Quran, then in the beginning it would maybe be very, very peaceful, but later on it would end up with what we have today, or even worse. I get a stomach ache from that thought. Oh. It's like, if you take book burnings, I don't like those, because you shouldn't censor history just because you didn't like it. Just like the Americans are doing with the statues. They're censoring things because they can't stand that something bad has happened in the past. That's why I like the Africans so much more. Their mentality for the problems surrounding the slavery that had been, it's so mature, very grown up. They have the statues, and they let the statues be so that they can remind them of times that will never happen again. What does the the small children of America do. The children of America, they get really pissed off. They can't control their emotions at all, and they start to mutilate the statues and destroy them and other things and censor things. And now there's all these other consent things also, which is, are you batshit crazy? Have people gone batshit crazy? Because we can't change the past to our present liking with our present values, because our present or oppressing values of today is sick. Our society is very, very sick. There's a lack of insights and comprehension of people that makes everything a big problem. Like, I have no problems with the different sexual preferences that people have, because they don't include me. So, but they go against life because it doesn't create life. But does it offend life because it doesn't create life? It still creates experiences for life and is a creation of life, in life, for life. So how is it offending life with people not being binary in their sexual preferences? But it's gone too far. There's a tipping point where acceptance becomes a bit diluted, because the mind, it doesn't really know what it thinks it is and what it thinks that is acceptable. What's acceptable, what you accept, you usually also tend to start doing. That's why we have strong principles of and morals for what is and isn't okay to do. So when you accept something, you might not at the start of it do it, but later on, because it's accepting or accepted, you will do it. That's how the mind works. That's also, the mind is very malleable, and because it's very malleable, what you think is okay and acceptable and becomes normal instead becomes part of you. And the more acceptance you get for that choice that you make, conscious choice that you make, the more solidified it becomes to your identity. And this is why I don't really believe that people can be homosexuals. They're just solidified thoughts and patterns from an early age, and we should respect them. Even if they go against God, life. Because as long as not everyone are homosexuals, There's still gonna be kids. Life is gonna live on. And right now we have bigger problems than the sexual preferences of people. Like the climate, it is getting warmer. It's been noticed for years. And for years there's been very little snow in the parts where I've been living, but also I've been talking about weather being coupled with emotions a bit. So it's synchronicity. Yeah. I don't want to talk about that because it's sometimes it becomes so real. It's really fascinating, and then when you add a reason to it, it starts to become scary instead. And when it's scary, you start to panic, and then you don't really want to have anything to do with it. Sure, if I didn't regard life as something valuable, maybe I wouldn't care about some things. Maybe I wouldn't care about what kind of weather it becomes from the emotions displayed. But I don't know if it's real or not. But it feels really real. There's, I want to live a normal life. No one's secluded. But it's so difficult to communicate with other people. It might seem very easy here, but I'm so honest and straightforward with people that and a lot of people can't handle what I say, so they kind of turn their backs. But it's their limits of comprehension, and maybe one day they might not be as selfish or egocentric. Because when you're egocentric, you tend to take things personally. Everything that people say, take it personally. The only things that I take personally is what is actually personally. Like when people put words in my mouth, that's when I get angry. Feels like I'm just ranting right now, so I should just end the video. So It's much appreciated that you have taken your time and listened to my 50-minute rant. Thank you so much. Have a good see.